Hey everybody, welcome back to another all-new X's for Show, and we are here for our favorite thing to do on Sunday mornings. That's right, a drag brunch featuring all of your favorite queens doing all their best stuff. Check the show out at X's for Show. But if you want to check me out, I'm Nico, and you can check me out at Nico Action, NICOACTION.
I'm Jonah. You can find me places at Peak Jonah.
I'm TK. You can find me at TK Elemental.
And I'm Tori Sheehan. You can find me at SM Tori. That's Tori with an I.
And that makes me your producer, Kevo, and you can find me at Kevo Rayleigh. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and comment so that we know what you want us to cover in the future. But we have plenty of drag to cover today, especially a very exciting finale.
Oh, my gosh, that's amazing. I'm sorry. I feel so unprepared because I only watched a not exciting finale. So if you have another finale for me...
I thought you were going to make a Canada joke because you like Canada better this week.
Oh, man, I love Canada right now. This Canada versus the World season. I don't know if it's just Kennedy Davenport and Lemon just pissing on everybody else. But it is amazing. I want to start with the show that's the show du jour, the cover image. My problem wasn't that this wasn't a great finale. This is a good episode. It just wasn't a finale. I do want to say that no matter who won, we all won. Even if it had been one of the girls who didn't quite rank in the placement. But I do want to start with quick take. Who would you have also been fine seeing win? I personally really would have given, if not to the winner, Miss Vanjie. I just really thought she had a really good, Jonah, you'll appreciate this as a stats boy. From where she started, backing up saying her name like a deranged Pokemon, to where she's at now, an actual human leopard.
Yeah.
I Miss Vanjie. Jonah, who would you have also given the crown to?
Shannel. The answer is Shannel. Shannel is the answer to everything.
I was prepared to zoom in on Gottmik for you. That felt like the Jonah answer, so that's interesting.
Yes, but on reflection, Shannel kind of just stepped on everybody's throats the past few episodes and was not let up. And I kind of like the idea, that storyline of the way that I view it, of someone kind of getting a little bit pushed to the side for other people, but really just once they find that moment to shine, never letting up. And Shannel just kind of brings something that, tickles my brain in a way where I'm like, yes, reward Shannel. We owe everything to Shannel.
We do.
Kind of, yeah.
Well, that's one vote for our juggler. TK, speaking of people who would never make a mistake between jugglers and juggalos, who would you give your vote to?
Roxy. I felt pretty
Detox
confident.
over here.
I felt pretty confident that Roxy was taking it. It seemed like there was virtually no way Roxy wasn't going to be in the top 3. Then the lip sync. I did not think Roxy had anywhere at the top of the talent shows, so I just want to throw that out there, which is fine. She already had her 5 badges, but I did think she would be in the top 3, and then I thought she nailed the song. We are now back to this. I'm now back to this debate of, so is the winner the person who wins the lip sync at the end of the season, or is the winner the person that does the best, and the lip sync is the chance to maybe have done the best out of everything?
Well, I mean, Glenn Coco. Was Glenn Coco the star of the movie, or did he just get the most, votes? You go, Glenn Coco.
A fair question for sure. Very applicable to this situation.
I mean, it's a thing that's stuck in our heads. It's a bit that we all say, but it's not a main thing from the movie. So, it's.
We were just saying Miss Vanjie was the biggest star of her season, and she went out on episode 1. So,
a very fair point. That is very true. But I mean, I just my winner, the person that I chose to win, won, and I love that queen so much. My calculus was right before it was announced. My calculus was Roxy has won this. So that's who I would give it, because I wasn't like, she didn't deserve it, but she's gonna win. I was like, okay, I think Roxy won, and that's fair. And so that's the other person that I would have given it to if not Angeria.
I would like to quickly pause it. It would have been very funny if Roxy won the talent show and then won the double badge for 16 total badges.
I thought
insane.
I thought it was possible when we started talking about the tops. I definitely thought it was possible. I'm shocked at who won the talent show, but we'll get there.
Well, speaking of talent and tops, I would love to know what Tori thinks, because Tori,
You think I'm a top baby?
you give big top energy, mama.
I
Um,
don't.
Give yourself
Self
a big top
credit.
energy, mama.
Big top.
Oh, I see where he's going. Big top.
He
Got
is,
it, like
he
a
is,
clown.
he is.
Okay.
That's the
Uh-oh.
joke. That's a joke.
My brain.
Um,
But I also wanted to ask you in particular, because you're the worldliest of us. Do you
Oh.
think they gave it to her because the Olympics just started in Paris?
That's a really great thing. And if we were going for how many rings these queens had, I'm sure someone would have 5. For me, I had always pretty much thought that Angeria was going to win this until about halfway through the lip sync when I went, fuck, Roxy's got this. And I say that as someone who is not her biggest stan. And I fully, at the end, was shocked she didn't. And then mad that I was shocked. And then mad that I was mad. And then basically was like, but then why did Plastique bring, like, Plastique's runways, Plastique's coming out of her shell for comedy and acting and like all of these things. Plastique is so much better than when she was in her previous season that it is astounding and frightening. And watching queens not on this season be like, Plastique is trying to kill us all or drive us into the poorhouse trying to get on her level is really remarkable. I also cried 3 to 4 times for Nina this episode. So yeah. But like TK said, my queen won, and then the one that I was like could also win was up there. So yeah.
Tori,
What
I
about
think
you,
brought up-
Kevo?
Oh, I was about to say, Tori, I think you brought up a really great point. I can't wait to get to Nina and the double diamond, and how exciting that's going to be to talk about Miss Congeniality with an asterisk and a purpose that did nothing. But
She got
speaking
them
of
rings.
Mr. Congeniality, producer
I'm
Commando.
almost annoyed because Tori, you kind of gave literally my answer. I was
I
actually
know.
specifically going to say, I favor Plastique, but that might just be because I love her. But I also wanted to go out of my way to give Nina kudos, especially for this episode. We've made a few comments across this season, especially based on her style, being like, Nina, did you actually come here to play? But I really thought her talent show performance especially was something that was very standout, delivered a really great message, and did it in a fun, upbeat way. But, this is 3 in a row where we're all going to be saying, yeah, but our queen won. From the first episode, was like, I don't want to root for Angeria because it felt like it was going to be Roxy's season locked. And, instead, what a lovely, lovely, exciting, wonderful thing to happen.
I really love the way you put that, Kevo. What a great bow. And let's move into the actual episode itself for a minute. You guys can hear in the background, I have a loop of Janet Jackson mixes, dubs, sonic recreations, and everything's kind of like a different genre or a different person she's worked with genre. This is one of my most proud pieces. This is an interpretation of Empty from her great masterpiece, The Velvet Rope. And I did this in honor of the final lip sync being Rhythm Nation. And I say that because these were some of the least impressive pieces of original music that any of these girls have had in many, many, many seasons. And we just ranked all of the music. And like, I felt like so many of these girls' talents were underused. There was so much auto-tune. It was hard to tell who they were. At some points I was like, maybe that's a professional, but then like, they're letting in some weird, what I would say, untrained technique in that's really cool, but you would never pay for untrained technique. And so like, it just felt like these girls were not given songs. They weren't bad songs. They were the wrong songs for these girls for this finale to stand out against one another. The mixing was weird. This was a very disappointing talent show for me because all these girls are so much more talented than this came across.
And I actually could have even forgiven how not correct and not a great fit all of the music was.
Right.
Because I got to a point where I knew what I knew in my head, but then watching it, I was like, no, maybe I'm just wrong. And what I started to think was maybe they're trying to distinguish between talent shows and a variety show. And in a variety show, everyone will do a number where they get a song and choreography. And then poor Shannel had to come and fuck it up for everybody by doing a talent. And I was brought right back to earth in the reminder that this was actually a talent show. And anybody
I was brought to space by Irene.
Exactly. And anybody could have not done a number. And some of them, I blame the girls as much as anybody else. Some of them should have chosen not to do a number. Some of them should have done just a talent. We have seen girls like Roxy. I wouldn't have done a song. I would have just done another burlesque dance, and I would have leveled it up, especially because the money is different here. I would have leveled it up from the one she did in season 2. That was great. She went really far with that on All Stars 2, and I think she could have leveled that up again. I think Plastique probably didn't need a song to do most of what she did and keep it there.
Right.
So at the end of the day, what I was disappointed by was that it was actually a talent show, and a lot of them I know are talented at things that are not doing a pre-canned lip sync number, or alternately they all have to do it, and it's just everybody does their song, and it's this is what Work the World is. Almost nobody does, like I've gone to those tours before where nobody does a talent or anything. Everybody just comes out and does an original number of some kind. Some of them lip sync, some people sing live. Dusty Ray Bottoms, that did not work out great. And then we just have a good time. But the inconsistency on top of the fact that then the numbers were not great. So it was just like, oh, but you could have done like an actual talent, was a little bit rough.
Do you think if it had gone in the other direction and Shannel had maybe had like some amount of lip syncing across her juggling, would it have felt less out of place?
It might have, but then my thing would have been if Shannel, I mean, like, that Shannel wasn't in the top already is a problem to me. But if she hadn't, if she'd been lip syncing as well and hadn't been in the top, I would have had to call, like, who's the games association that you call for like reality shows and lottery?
John DeMall's house.
Firma.
Thank you. Yes, that's the house I would have called.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I just the other huge problem is just I loved Angeria's performance. I thought it was really fun. I would have loved to have seen it. I would have loved to have participated, but unequivocally, it was Vanjie and Angeria were not the top two of the night. Like the judges' reactions at the time were clearly that those were not the top two of the night.
My top two were Vanjie and Nina.
I can understand thinking Vanjie was a top two of the night. I get it. It was a very cunty Lil' Kim perforance, and
with, like, shades of Nicole Scherzinger, just like shades in, like she's getting.
Well, the shades are her fucking insane body. But I mean, it was not bad at all. I didn't.
She looks so alert.
Which is wired.
Absolutely the best human possible description. She does, in fact, look so alert. But I think, like, their reaction to Shannel and Plastique alone eclipsed everybody else. I also think their reaction to Gottmik. I think Nina's had enough heart that it was really tough for me to justify this top two.
Can we also give it up to Georges in that freaking slide?
Yes. Oh my god.
Wild.
Hey, what are the union rules on that?
They
Uh,
oiled
they-
that.
She gets hazard pay for that, technically, and they have
okay.
to run it 5 times before curtain.
I think that's also an OSHA problem.
Well, if we want to talk about OSHA problems in Georgia, I don't know if anybody else has seen her like coming down from the stripper pole, dancing around it with no. Does it look like harnesses? There might be.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's more like oh shit problems.
Yes. But even this number was great, and it's not even. Nobody did bad. It just felt like production choices, which is fine. But it comes across where like everybody feels like they're doing a little bit of the same thing. The people who did things a little bit differently, I think, stood out a little bit more. People like Nina and Shannel stood out a little bit more for me because it wasn't just, cunty bitchy track number 5, lip sync, dance move, fierceness, ferocious,
Right.
yes. It wasn't that.
So
it was different. I will say.
Go ahead.
I think maybe Shannel's did need 1 amp more because I love this. I love the juggling. I love everything about it because it was different. We have not really seen that on Drag Race. Do something different
She should have lip sang hands up at the same time.
or something stupid.
Yeah, hands up. Like hands up, baby,
Somebody said.
hands up. Yeah.
Oh my God. You need to call my husband right now and tell him you know that song.
Why does he not know
Maybe
hands up?
your
No,
heart
he knows it, and I'm like, I have no
your
idea what you're talking about.
heart
Please stop
will
talking to me about this song.
Okay, the fact that you don't have a better appreciation for
Oh,
70s
yeah,
and 80s
yeah.
dance music breaks my heart.
Yes, Tori.
So for me, my first falter on is Angeria gonna actually win this happened during Park and Bark because I found it lovely, but fine. I was confused as to whether or not Gottmik actually was playing guitar. I land on the side of she was because the starting note was not good. and so I was like, I think she is, but I don't know if it was as according to plan as it should have been. But I loved Georgis's creativity, but I find often with Georgis that I can see her counting in her face, and so
I have to call that out only because I have called Nico out so many times for getting a music technicality thing and being like, Nico, I love you, but I don't think anybody else noticed that because we don't have your musical knowledge. I think we were just hearing the song and entertained. I think that you might have seen that because of your knowledge of how people perform on stage.
yeah, I do spend a lot of time being like, is this really how we're holding ourselves right now?
Yeah.
Is this really
Which
how
I love.
we're
Don't get me
conveying
wrong.
emotion?
I absolutely love when an expert comes on and is like, here's the thing that you don't know. I just always have to balance it out and be like, us Philistines did not see the thing.
that you
Right.
didn't realize influences your decision to like or not like it. It's not thing you didn't realize. It's thing you didn't know has a name that is a psychological phenomena.
Absolutely. Also very possible. But I think in this case, I did not notice that at all.
She also
Yeah.
didn't punch a ghost, and that was severely missing.
Like right
It
now.
was
it's-
close.
She has not punched. She
The
punched the ghost
movement.
one time this season.
Yeah.
Teach it
And
to Nina.
This is like, she's the first queen in Drag Race history that doesn't get a popular thing and then beat the dead horse to the point where the horse sprouts new horses out of the rotting carcass of the old horse.
She thinks her thing is this, which it is.
Yeah, which it
but
absolutely is. But
that's not
also,
merch.
if she had just randomly burst into punching the ghost every single episode, I would probably have her Funko Pop by now.
I would
Yeah.
truly, if this had been 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo and not a pup named Scooby-Doo, I would have been way more in for this scrappy duo performance where Georges just did not perform as we'd hoped.
I also
Right.
figured out who I thought was performing the song, not Georges. I thought it was Mistress Isabel Brooks. It sounds exactly like Mistress Isabel Brooks. If you go
I
back
hear it.
and listen to Mistress Isabel Brooks's rap from her talent show on her season, it's this weird nasally thing. I can't believe you have these locked and loaded.
He's got a.
Oh my God.
I just can't always
Um,
move that fast, but I've got it all.
This unbelievable collection of Georges punching.
Go
the
back
ghost.
and listen to this song. It sounds just like she sounds just like Mistress Isabel Brooks.
Yeah.
And I'm still
For-
not convinced that's not who it was.
For me, my question for all of you is, do you think we might be coming to a point where they say, if you're going to lip sync to an original song, it has to be like, this is my original song about how we're all going to learn how to grapevine. And then like, it's a comedic skit that happens to have music and rhythm, as opposed to this is me and my dance number. Like I am truly getting sick of these original songs being put up against queens who are like, I actually spent the time learning how to throw my voice to have a marionette, like this kind of shit.
Yeah, no, I honestly don't think they will, and I think they should. But I think it's what annoys me is I wouldn't want them to do it because I need the girls to figure out for themselves how to show their talent and not just show up with something pedestrian and boring. The problem is, even when that happens and you get a season where 5 girls come with an insane talent and the other, 7 or however many just do a track that's, somewhere between mediocre and good, but not anything super remarkable, those mediocre to not super remarkable girls still might get in the top 2 that episode. And so if it was always a guarantee that, like, the very obvious talent and like people who showed up to play would then be rewarded, I would want them to kind of keep that up. But at this point, we really just are in the, whatever the producers are going to do, they're going to do. Who's ever going to be the top 2 is going to be the top 2. And that's just how it is.
Right. I also enjoy how Plastique's talent was lightsabers, but really it's just looking fierce and throwing in some marshmallows at the end, which I would have been fine with. I think performance art is performance art.
Yeah.
Well, if it had been that, but there was a not great song attached, and all of the not great songs were so in the exact same vein that I'm wondering if they're now being told you have to work with our crew or our vetted producers or our vetted team, because everything had shades of the same, a lot of the same breakdowns fit in the exact same periods of time. I do want to say, as somebody who has played some not great solos on stage while being a very capable guitar player, Gottmik was doing this in a way that Gott's never done this. It was kind of hard to listen to at points. It was the feedback turned up all the way to kind of cover the playing, which is a very punk aesthetic, but usually, if there's something going on under there, you know what I mean? And so I think the experience got the better of Gott. And I do want to say the actual winner of this talent show were those goddamn dancers who like literally gave it all up every number. The big smile for the drag is for everyone to the sexy. I mean, like, they literally had to create 3 to 4 characters to execute this whole thing, and they did a really great job, because some of the sexy is the sexy, and I don't know, I do think that there were some divisions here. There were the big numbers, the Roxy, Angeria, Nina. Then there were the kind of slutty numbers, everybody but Shannel and Gottmik. And then there was Shannel and Gottmik.
You didn't think Gottmik's number was slutty?
I thought Gottmik's number was meant to be aggressive grunge.
Is her tag hanging out?
Oof.
Go back.
Again, so alert. I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like this was such a weird talent show. Everybody's so talented and everybody's numbers were so good, but they didn't work. And everybody was just kind of off the mark here and there. It felt like, in many places, you could kind of see on Rue's face that she was like...
I also think part of maybe our reaction and some of the sentiment I've seen online is that this did not need to be a 2-part finale. Nope. There was nothing about this. I don't know if something happened to an 11th challenge and that they didn't want to do one, whatever it may be. We're not in the production room. We do not know what fully goes on. But the fact that they stretched this out over 2 episodes felt like nothing. because it felt like they were hyping this big finale, and I think our reaction would have been tempered if this wasn't set up that way. I think
if this had been the start
better.
of the show finale.
If I can, I've been thinking about it because I keep trying to compare this to something and we keep being like, well, there's no comparison for it. No, this is the episode where Tim Gunn goes house to house and asks you to show your collection in Project Runway. There's no challenge. There is no going to mood. There is just everybody talking about their feelings and creating their art together and having a cute, moment together. This is something a lot of other reality shows do. I don't think something got scrapped. I think they finally said it's time to start making cheap fucking episodes and just decided it's time to do a cheap episode. Like every other reality
emotions of these performers, because this whole opening sequence, there was this huge summer camp vibe that I thought was really sweet. And I think, we talked about the mood of this season being a little bit all over the place at times, where sometimes they were a little bit too nice, sometimes they were a little bit too mean. And I think this really helped bring the heart back into it by seeing how much all of these performers enjoyed being together. And I really liked that. I think Nico's point about trying to humanize these performers a little bit more is a really good one. Yeah, it's also cheap, but it's also something you already have right there. So why aren't you better utilizing it?
And to Jonah's point, I do want to say I think it failed. I do not think they got it right. I think this is a D of a two-parter. I don't think this worked. I was very bored during the first half, overstimulated during the second half. I don't think this worked. I would have split it over 2 episodes of performances.
Can I just quickly tell the audience the fact that the talent show ends around the 25 to 30 minute mark, and then we have a full almost half hour before we even get to the final lip sync. And yes, we runways are included, but that's so nuts. Much time is just kind of filled in a way that feels like it did not need to be stretched out this long. There is such a large gap between end a talent show to crowning lip sync, Prance My Queen. I am just befuddled, confused, bemused as to what exactly they were. I think they were trying something, and I just don't think it works. And I really hope they don't do it again.
Yeah, for me, because I've been catching up and watching a lot of these really quickly. So for me, All-Star 7, where they were like the 4 or 5 girls who are not in the finale have their own little thing that happens in the finale. All-Stars 8, they have the fame games. You can make your own decisions on that one. But so for me, I always sort of expected when they were like, oh, it's a 2-part finale. I was like, okay, so we get the talent show. We decide who's in the finale, and everyone else gets to do the like a smaller runoff for 50K or something. And so the fact that we didn't get that when we've been set up that the last 2 All-Stars have been doing that felt strange to me. I would have kind of preferred that, where if they were like at the end of the talent show, we know who's going to the finale. And it's going to be these 3 girls or 4 girls if you were on my conspiratory train. And then the other 4 girls are like, you're going to go for the something. And it's a lip sync or something for them. I don't know. But I just felt like this was a weird way to hold on to everyone till the end in a way that didn't pay off.
They could have given you the Kamala Cup because you would have been the vice president. Speaking of which, we have to talk about
when did they film this?
Last year.
Well, I know, but when did they film that teaser? Because Leslie wasn't on this season, was she?
No.
So when did they film this?
Probably relatively recently. Especially because I don't think Lance Bass has had that hair until like the past few weeks.
Okay.
Gosh, he really went from being the soft-looking one to a very butch femme daddy twink. I don't know. Good for him. He's really done it.
Nice.
Does he have kids?
Oh, God.
I think he does. I think he's one of those I got twins.
I don't think he is.
I got twins.
I'm not sure. He's
I mean,
Oh
he's
no,
got
you are
twins.
absolutely right. Wow.
He's got twins.
okay.
I didn't realize
Good
he was
for
even
Dustin
married.
Landpass.
Oh,
All
yeah,
of
he's
these
been married a
millennial
while.
blonde singer twinks had
Oh, that'd be a
twins.
good before and after.
Thank you. I thought you'd like it.
There's at least 3: Ricky, Neil, and now this one. Yeah.
Yeah, they all went to the same lady. So
Oh, and Matt Bomer.
God, I wish.
Also, was Jamal wearing a Hunger was Jamal wearing a Hunger Games pin there? Like,
Jamal said, "I'm Katniss."
So this group tells you to vote, which is great.
great. I texted Nico. I was like, man, Kamala must have been out here saying, listen, Joe, give me one more weekend because the finale's coming up and
I gotta go to LA.
And the gays are going to be crazy when I show up, and I just announced I'm going to be the candidate.
she's also very alert.
Well,
I
she
was
had it
gonna
upside down at first.
I
And
know
then-
that, yes.
10,000 points to Cheyenne Jackson, who has managed to survive some insane amount of, I don't even know, de-aging magic. The dark forces that keep this man looking so handsome are incredible.
But unfortunately, they shredded his shirt.
Yeah, look at that.
What's the matter with you? You paid for that.
His puppy did
Also-
that. It looked like paw print.
They let
Hey, leave
Mirage
Lance
do his
alone.
makeover.
Also, isn't he, or is it just his character on 30 Rock that's Canadian?
I think he's Canadian.
Oh, then why is he telling us to vote?
No, he's American.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Okay, then he's allowed, I guess.
It's okay. We made it through this.
Oh, okay, then he's racist. There you
Guys,
go.
we survived Baby Brunch Gate, and now we've survived Vote Gate. I think, guys, we're really doing it this episode. We're breaking boundaries. That clapping is for us.
It is.
All right. Who else do we want to talk about from the talent show?
Nina West putting those little dancers in her frothy little nutcracker dress was the best thing. And then they ran away. And I was like, oh, how cute. But I kind of wanted them to stay in it.
Wait, TK is an emergency.
Okay, real quick. 2 things. One, that's a reference to a dress that she made, that she had before that made her very famous.
Yes.
Also, Cheyenne Jackson has twin children.
I'm telling you, they all picked the same lady.
Is the same lady popping out twins?
Did the Octomom
It's
just have
all
a
over the
4-for-1 sale?
It's
That's
the IV.
still
You
I
do the
want.
IVF
It's
with your
BOGO,
surrogate,
baby. BOGO.
and then
Of course.
you take them. You take what you get.
Take the good, you take the bad.
You take them both, and there you have.
You get
That's the
what you
life.
get and you don't get upset.
So I just, I mean, I think Neil Patrick Harris has them. Anyway, yeah. So that was a reference, and I thought a really cute one. That was one of the reasons why I was like, this Nina kind of took it a little bit. Like, she definitely was higher up to me than one of the winners. She referenced herself, and not just herself, but something that made her iconic prior to Drag Race. And it was a really big reminder that, like, Nina was a get for the show in season 11. Yes. The show was not a get for Nina, who was perfectly fine in her career and could have, there are queens who never touch Drag Race who are successful and make money and tour and do stuff and do go on Broadway. And those queens don't need Drag Race. It's mutually beneficial, sure, but
yeah.
Credibility.
I spent like there's a couple of seasons in the middle, like somewhere around like seasons 10 to 12, where for some reason, as I was learning and as I was Googling the queens after they left, sometimes the winners would pop up. And for some reason, every single one of those seasons, including the All-Stars that happened during that time, I would catch the Miss Congeniality winner as the winner. So I spent a lot of Nina's season being like, oh, this is the point where they decided they wanted to crown her. Nina's so great. I'm texting all this to Jonah. Jonah's like, that's great, Tori. Have a good time. And then all of a sudden I go, this bitch went home. And he's like, I know. And I was like, wait, but she won. And he's like, no, she didn't.
I let you live your lie.
I have to.
He lets me live a lot of lies.
I don't spoil anything for Tori, so she's like texting me her theories, and I'm like, yep, that's a theory. Yeah, you think
he
that.
won't even confirm or deny unless I'm literally like, Jonah, I'm not going to be okay if I don't know the following information.
Well, in light of that, how did everyone feel about this? And everyone's votes. I specifically, by the way, went through, so we have screenshots of everyone's votes.
Oh,
It's
good.
not necessarily a landslide.
No, it's
No,
No.
one by one.
But
Kevo,
yeah,
I love that you brought this up. This is such a great frame, such a great still. Gottmik voting for Nina is kind of sad because if you go back one slide, Kevo, if you would just go back to that great leaderboard, it had been Gott and Nina in the bottom together, and
yeah.
Gottmik's vote, if she won by one, pushed Nina to making Gottmik the ultimate last place.
Yeah.
And so it's just sort of like a sad moment for Gott, who just really was treated so poorly this season. Nina, Angeria voted Vanjie, very sweet. Shannel voted Nina. I wonder if it was the only name she could remember. Oh
They
gosh,
really showed
Vanjie's
it.
the sweetest human.
I love this LinkedIn profile for Vanjie.
I know.
Oh yeah,
she's
She
the
she has so many
businesswoman.
layers.
Vanjie's energy in this finale is just unreal.
Magic. Kevo, can you just go back to Roxy for 1 second?
Sure.
I do love that Roxy voted for Nina, because even if Roxy did ultimately, let's go with take second place, that she contributed to Nina's success as somebody who I very much feel original season Roxy would have treated original season Nina less than kindly at times.
Yes.
I really, maybe I'm projecting, but that the woman performer and person that Roxy has become, because is Roxy the one who Sasha Colby refers to as trans adjacent? Roxy, in her growing into an incredible, better person, having this sort of love for someone like Nina is why Roxy is a legend,
Also, I love that Roxy completely using the phrase completely differently, eye for eye. She's like, I'm paying back Nina.
Yeah, some of these girls don't know what anything means, but they're happy just to shake their
No.
tits on stage.
When we get to Canada, we'll talk about turning over a new leaf. I'd be like, if you turn over a leaf, it's the same leaf. What are you
I
talking
have a
about?
lot about Fierce Delicious.
Tori, that is like my least favorite person in almost any franchise ever.
We'll get
I have
there.
a lot to discuss. So I know this is probably madness, because why would they put this much work on themselves? But I think there were multiple versions of the final three. I think there's one where Nina made it instead. We know that Nina has to have won the double diamond no matter what. But that there is a world in which she also won the talent show and she has 11 going into it. And it was probably going to be taking the Vanjie slot instead.
I don't think they filmed anything, but I imagine they did sit with the math and a board and seriously consider what it would look like to have that be the top three and what they would do from there.
Yeah, because the fours problem is the issue, is that where if they brought too many people into the fours or the fives, suddenly there's a top four. So, Jonah.
I love that idea. I do think there was discussion over who we bring to the top three, who do we want there, and I think that's maybe what lies the ultimate problem. I think the double diamond badge is great for a twist, but similar to All-Star 7, it feels like a lot of this season was negated by the fact of 3 stars. It puts a lot of emphasis on the final end as opposed to a lot more of what you do throughout the entire week. I feel bad mostly for Plastique and Georges, who I think worked really hard, especially as when we talked about it before, comparative to how their original season how they came across in their original season. I think the turnaround of them being these flourishing stars that they are, and even I want to give credit to Georges a little bit more, which was 2 years ago, which is not a lot of time, but in that small amount of time, we can see a lot of growth.
Thank goodness she's such a small person.
I know.
She's got somewhere to grow.
I can see the disappointment and anger of not getting there. From I think these two a little bit more than maybe the other people who didn't make it, because they worked so hard all season only for it to not matter in the end.
Yeah, I really agree, especially because it seemed like so many of their wins were like, yes, finally, just to get taxed out of your bracket.
The only thing I'll say is those are two examples. Like Plastique currently is the owner of the internet, so I'm sort of just like
Queen of TikTok.
Yeah,
she inherited it from her dad, Al Gore.
Precisely. So I'm just sort of it's not like I don't feel bad for her. It's just that I'm always, when there are queens where I'm like, oh, I would have loved to have seen them get the star treatment and the winner treatment. Her mother, Alyssa Edwards, is another one where I'm just like, she's so great. I would have loved to have seen her as a reigning champ on the show, but also she's so fine without it that it doesn't break my heart in the same way. With Georges, it's sort of the opposite thing where it's just like she's unlimited potential, but the molding isn't quite there. And so like even though she gets better and better, it's still like I'm not ready to see Georges win yet. I kind of felt
like a versus the world kind of
100%. She feels like
they can't let because
she feels like she comes back for another time. Absolutely, you know, we're talking about queens in a second who are on their fourth run in a show, and so like it's possible. And like, I don't think coming back a fourth time means anything less. I felt bad for Gottmik because I think she did not fare well, but again, she's one where I'm just like, her career is amazing outside of the show, but I still didn't like quite how the show treated her, and I could tell she didn't like it, which was really a bummer. And then Roxy, it's just, even though I love Angeria, even though I pick Angeria, I vibe with Angeria, I'm so happy about her win. It's no one was robbed, nothing bad, but also it's just like, Roxy, one of the original old school queens who it seemed like really was going to win her original season, unfortunately stumbled on All Stars 2, but this felt like the kind of comeback that you just can't stop, and the show just seemed to keep telling her how much it loved her and kind of that this was her time. And then she actually absolutely killed this lip sync. I really just like and it's sort of in the way where you didn't think so?
Really third place for me.
Holy shit! I absolutely thought she was the first by a mile.
I thought she won this lip sync, and I
think it's because when I think of a song like Rhythm Nation, that is literally about you have to get on your feet, get on the street, and do the thing to save the people. It is literally about if you do not sacrifice for other people, you are not contributing to the world. And I thought that Vanjie's movements were powerful and extreme, nonstop. They were the expression of what the song is about. And I mean, it's literally in the song, sing it, children, if you want a better way of life. And I felt so much of Roxy's performance was her same walking around, pointing at things. And I don't want somebody slowly telling me to have a better way of life, kind of ambling. It felt very much like a Roxy killer performance for a song that demanded more activity. And maybe it's that I don't mean this. It's not even that I know the song. That's literally the surface meaning of the song. You don't have to go deeper than the lyrics with the captions on.
Right.
So it's like, it just felt like she gave much less than the other two, who it felt like were trying to summon the strength of a better way of life.
I do feel like I would have. Oh, Kevo, go ahead, because I think we're about to say.
I'll go after you. I'll jump after you.
I would have liked more athleticism from her from this for sure, but I feel that she emoted it better because I think the other two were pushing a little too much on tricks. What did you want to say, Kevo?
A lip sync that made a really strong impression on me our first season in the opposite direction is Lil Nas X, That's What I Want. I very vividly remember it was Selena S. Titties, right?
Selena S. Titties and Spice.
Yeah. And
twins.
Selena's performance was very powerful and emotional, which didn't and Spice did a little bit more silly, which, you know, the other is fine. And I felt like doing it more emotional and dramatic was very against what you might think the song should be. but I felt like it worked. So I feel like I really hear what Nico is saying, where this is sort of the opposite, where you're going against kind of what the theme is. Like, it's not that Roxy wasn't performing in a way that wasn't great for Roxy, and it wasn't that it wasn't a great performance, but I don't think going that much against the tone worked for this performance. Like, I see where that didn't work for you.
Also, I would like to take this very brief moment to congratulate our All-Stars 6 winner coming back and making me confused about my sexuality, because I look at Kylie Sonique Love and I get
that's a woman.
I'm like, was I straight the entire time? Have I always been straight?
New tits. Be careful, new tits.
New tits.
Oh my god.
She,
You got Mimi, I'm firsted.
she looks stunning. She looks gorgeous.
She seems so happy.
She looks like everything. She looks fantastic. I like sleeper funny. I think she's sleeper funny.
Like Megan Fox on New Girl funny.
Yeah. She even made me forget that there's another winner between her and Jimbo that we just don't see.
Which is, I don't know what happened for All Stars 8 that she didn't come back for the coronation of Jimbo, but I'm glad that they brought her here, because it seems like Jimbo might have been on tour, might have been doing something that she couldn't be there physically in person to step down.
Yeah, she was in Dublin, she said.
But I don't know if it like specifically like,
why it wasn't organized better. Yeah.
Why in her contract was she not been like, hey, you need to block out these dates to come film this?
I do want to confirm, like, if I had to think about why she wasn't involved in the season 7 crowning, it's because what authority does she have to?
No, she wasn't involved in the season.
No, but
also 8.
So then it would be almost awkward to acknowledge that right away with 8. You know what I mean? Like, I think they wanted to like let it be like, oh my god, she came back. Like, I agree with you. It's so awkward. They had no one for that. But like, I think giving her this space and this time really let her grow into someone really cool. Because when you brought it up, I was like, oh well, she wasn't in 7, and you were like, and she wasn't in 8, and I was like, what? And the more I think of it, like, look at her. She is the child of Gwen Stefani and Megan Fox. Gwen Fox, you are clearly, that's got to be a Marvel character. Probably.
There's also some Christina Aguilera in there.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. I was really not bothered by the idea that Jimbo didn't come back. And I just it also makes me sort of wonder, like, it's possible that Jimbo didn't come back because World of Wonder is in some way making money off whatever tour she's on. And they were like, perfectly fine, do the tour we have. And that's kind of a great thing now. Like, I don't need Jimbo to come back to do the crowning of the next one, because there's so many other alternatives that are cool to me. Like, in this case, having it be... What?
I'm saying, like, you could have Angeria come back next time.
Oh, yeah, yes. Well, Angeria would make sense because she's the follow-up one. I'm saying, like, if Angeria were on tour... And
I get you now. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. And like, just for whatever reason, Monet and Trinity came to do it. You know, like, there's just any number of things that you can do where
Gay twins.
Yeah. The gag is just that you got a couple of the girls there and they're fan favorites and it's fun. It doesn't now always need to be the previous winner, particularly for All Stars, which is a little bit more of a grab bag. So it's just interesting that they kind of have.
They did, you know, All Stars 2, Chad came back, and then All Stars 3, Chad and Alaska came back, and then All Stars 4, Chad, Alaska, and Trixie came back, and it was just, okay, I guess everybody's just coming back. They'll just do like a little stint, little tour of the Hall of Fame.
Speaking of Trixie making appearances in groups of 3, it cannot go unsaid that Trixie is part of a song I would probably refer to as a bop. There is an amazing new song out, and it's just because I'm an old gay man, by Vanessa Williams. Bop with Vanessa Williams, Trixie Mattel, and Lion Babe. And it actually is a bop, following up on the power of Legs. TK, you said it best when you described that Legs she's like the legs are the last thing to go, so I'm going to keep on dancing. TK, would you mind saying what it makes her sound?
Well, I said I like this song better, and I might have done it first because Legs is just a little bit, I may be close to death, but, and it's a very weird message for, like, when you've got Kylie Minogue, not Sony Glove, Kylie Minogue being like,
Right, the other one.
I just got to the club, let's fuck. I just got to the club, I feel like we're gonna fuck. Every song with Kylie is just like, hey, I'm here and I'm very horny, but in like a cute, respectable, slightly cougary way. Not quite so like let's fuck, but a little more like let's wink wink. I think Vanessa could totally be in that zone, so I just thought Legs was a little bit like, oh, osteoporosis gonna get me, but I'll keep on dancing. And this one is so much more like, I'm mother because I'm older, and when you have done this much at this age, you are a fucking boss. And I love that message. I would have maybe led with that.
The kids want
I
to pop.
also want to officially pitch on air my concept for a series where Vanessa Williams and RuPaul play siblings who run a spy agency together with a bunch of sexy model spies.
Who are drag queens.
I think they realized after the last time she was on the show that they're both too much to work together. I think
that's what's going to make it fire. I love it. Do it anyway.
In theory, I love it. In practice, I pity the PAs that have to run between their trailers trying to juggle the two of them making increasingly insane demands to try and compete with the other one.
Started this week.
I volunteer.
Hold on. They can just get whoever it is that Andy Cohen sends for all of the Molly and Poppers, and I think that person can handle Vanessa and Mr. Charles.
That's a Down Under queen.
Probably.
So, okay, closing thoughts. Say goodbye. Anybody have anything left to say? I just hope that this is the start of a lot of wonderful things for all of these amazing queens, except Gottmik, who I hope this is the start of something much, much, much better, because this felt like you could really, by the end, you could see him really sad that he felt like he disappointed Trans Lifeline, and that's just not a good thing to see a person you respect so much for their artistry and their selflessness and their strength. Also, I wish I could cancel that many gigs and still be beloved.
I hope nobody feels like a disappointment. While I maybe don't like the way that this episode was framed, maybe even looking back the entire season, everybody did amazing. Everybody should be proud. Everyone should be happy. Everybody did fantastic. You were all stars, hence the name. Nobody's a flop. Nobody's a failure. None of that. 2, congratulations to Angeria. So happy you won. You are, I don't know, this bright, shining person who just loves drag, who loves art, who loves performing, and there's something about you that truly, she's got it. And I recommend, if you haven't watched it, go watch the live reaction to them finding out who wins, because they film everybody getting crowned, and then they film the actual reaction later, and Angeria's reaction is a level of genuine and sincere that might be a little much for the human emotions.
I love that. Good for this beautiful bitch.
I'm so happy for her. I'm so excited that she won. I agree that I kind of would have been good with a lot of these girls winning, just because of what they brought and how exciting it was to watch them do everything. I feel a little bad that Roxy, this is her second time filming the crowning and she still hasn't gotten it. But
speaking of the crowning, God, that dress is short.
That dress is short. And I loved Vanjie's pulling the opposite of a Courtney act of just being so excited to be there, to just be in the room. Because...
Hold on. I'm going to say the opposite of an Alaska, because Alaska's reaction to season 5 is still the funniest thing in the entire world. When she told Jinx beforehand, hey, I'm going to throw a tantrum. It's not about you. It's me. And then she did. And while she's crying and sobbing, saying, I'm so happy for you.
But like Vanjie knew from the moment they called her that she was like, I'm not winning this, but I'm just so happy to be able to be here and get to be in this final moment with these gals. So
you should have fun.
Give it up to my girl who just really personifies Nelly's hot in here moment.
Sure.
TK, Kevo, I would love to know how you guys are going to say goodbye to a season I can no longer abbreviate by referring to as AS9, or as I say out loud, asinine.
Asinine.
Oh.
Go ahead, Kevo.
I think it was ultimately very fun. I think the execution was a little sloppy, but I love Angeria. She's so fun and she's so sweet, and I think this was really great. And I am looking forward to her reign and what this will mean for her as part of the company. So, and it's not like we are going to spend a lot of time sitting around not having new Drag Race entertainment. We are literally jumping right to another show from here, and then from there to another show, and then probably Down Under, and then probably UK before the end of the year, and then beginning of next year is season 17. So, Wheel just keeps on spinning. Heel just keeps on spinning.
I'll never watch anything else for the rest of my life, I guess.
Yeah, that's
No.
basically how it
No.
goes.
Yeah, because you look like you're crying about it.
Listen,
over here.
listen,
Look at you.
listen.
Kids and the glam and the hair and the,
I learned how to do lip liner this time.
Word.
So,
Let's
yeah.
go.
Not successfully, but we learned it.
Everybody starts somewhere.
Well, we're finishing with the gentleman right below me, TK.
Yeah, I don't know. This has been such a weird week. I'm in like a bummer ass place, so I'm just gonna Debbie down this thing as we go to the end. Marvel's disappointing me. World of Wonder's disappointing me. I love these queens so much, but I'm so ready for like a really big break and to do things differently and to break the fourth wall a little bit and acknowledge that we all see enough behind the curtain, because again, these girls are a weird mix of star. These are not actors. The way the contracts work is very different. I love that they go to Roscoe's every week and just talk shit and give what information they're allowed to and like doesn't break their NDAs about production. I love that people get a hold of the contracts and analyze them on YouTube. But like, we know a lot about this show now, and it's sort of time to acknowledge that it's no longer seasons 4 through 8 where like we were having things like Perez Hilton spoil it, so we did the finales a little differently. It's just such a different world, and I want to see some really massive changes that acknowledge that, like, maybe it's okay if we don't film fake finale crownings just so that we never risk anybody ever knowing about who wins, because people kind of find out anyway. So yeah, I mean, I love Angeria so much. I'm so stoked that she is a winner. I think she deserves everything. I wish that she had won in a season that was sort of able to build all of the queens up in the way they deserve. I will say, I love the innovation that this one was for charity. I hope they will not be daunted by the fact that there were some troubles dealing with that, and they will keep up interesting ideas like that. But charity, I would adopt whatever religion I need to and pray to that Lord to never have to hear beautiful benefactress badge again.
Beautiful benefactress badge.
Beautiful benefactress
Beige.
badge. Oh, you're gonna hear that the rest of your life, buddy.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Beige.
I do know where the nearest bridge is, so cheers.
Well, from all stars in the US to Canada and some people from all over the world, and they're working on fixing that, I guess. Canada versus the world is wild in part because I think I'd forgotten what it was like to have like a pissy season. This is a really pissy season, and I don't know if it's just Kennedy Davenport coming in and being like, I don't have the patience for these children. I do not watch their shows. I have not watched since my show. Like, I don't know if it's Kennedy's lack of interest in you. I don't know if it's Lemon's incredible... Because here's the thing. Kennedy and Lemon are equally equipped for this battle, but it's in part because Kennedy isn't trying at all, doesn't care. This is just Kennedy. This is the only setting, the only mode, the only anything. Lemon is trying so hard. Lemon is bringing it like it really is Gene Kelly, Fred Astaire. Ginger Rogers dance on air.
It's like BFF necklace.
Yes, one of them is BFF and one of them is Necklace.
VIP guest list.
Yes. No, but I mean, it's like, it really is. And then there's like Eureka, who's like, I don't want to lip sync because I'm tired.
Which is real.
And then there's Fierce Delicious, who's like,
A little
I
too
know
real.
that I got some bad reviews, but I don't think I should go home.
And if you try to send me home, it's sabotage.
And
And
Alexis-
you're all delusional, not me.
And Alexis Mateo coming in and being like, do you people understand that I pay people to deal with people like you all day long, and I don't
I
have
love
to deal
how
with people like you?
I love how articulate your Alexis Mateo is.
I'm not going to do an unfortunate accent
I
of a
know.
beautiful queen. I cannot do her
She's
accent justice.
She sounds like my grandmother who emigrated from Spain to Puerto Rico, and whenever I hear her speak, I'm like, that sounds like family.
Cuba and same. But like, I mean, the one thing we can all say is I think we can all agree, Poppy, I want you to come home.
Bam!
So first off, you guys legally are allowed to do whatever accent you want to approximate Alexis Mateo. So just go ahead.
As Latin men, but
Right, exactly. You can't be canceled. I say do as many as you can think of. Let's just workshop them right now.
Lin-Manuel Miranda, did you hear that? You can't be canceled.
Well, no, we don't cancel him for that. We cancel him for literally everything else.
Yeah, the sense of being a theater kid.
And the Grimace picture, of course.
And there's a lot more, but so please do a bunch of them. Also, great character descriptions of everybody. Though you are missing the best and most important one as far as this particular episode is concerned.
Oh, you mean Cheryl doing her best Trishelle cosplay?
No, that's second best. I'm talking about Rinna. Come on, queen of
okay, hold on.
queen of my heart and my soul.
Can I do my
Billy
I get
from
it
Days of
now
Our
about her.
Lives.
I get it
Hold on.
now about her.
Okay, give me a second.
Yes.
I get it now.
This is her on her absolute best behavior. This was such a weird choice. She's not, I guess she summers in Canada, they said, although I wasn't even sure if that was just a setup for the Harry Hamlin joke, which still was very funny.
I can't do it with my tongue
No.
like that, but don't talk about my husband.
Yeah, listen, I said you can do Latin accents, and that's fine. You cannot do Rinna's accent. Yeah, this is
No.
racist. This is unfair.
Against
This is-
Botox?
You are
Shut
being
it
bigoted
down.
right now, and
Does
I'm
that technically
disgusted.
make her a filler queen?
Do not insult her culture.
Color Queen, that's from the Magicians, right?
I do love that at the end of the day she was really sweet and positive to them, because she absolutely could have gone another route and just kept up the drama and been a little monster shit stirrer. She does that all the time, but she's really cute. She had fun. And I think this was a stupid challenge, and
Okay, can I actually tell you my problem with this challenge?
yeah,
So this was supposed to be an improv. First off, the dressing. This is
Yeah.
a parody of the name of the mole, but
right,
doing
but it's the
Traitor,
traitors.
which
Yes.
is fine. Whatever. The
Yeah.
whole is a gayer joke. Yada yada yada. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
This was probably one of the worst ways to prepare queens because they showed a picture of what they gave them, and it was a little sample or tasting menu of just these are the characters. They're essentially saying, hey, you're gonna do improv, you're gonna do all of the work.
There isn't even like a check mark for
I'm-
I'm this person. You're expected to just circle it.
I'm gonna throw that back to you and say I don't think that's what happened. I think they had scripts.
I don't know, because normally when they do an improv challenge like this, they still give them a
little card.
blurb.
Yeah.
They give them a blurb and be like, this is your backstory, the small 2-sentence backstory of your character
Yeah.
that gives you something to work with. They gave them nothing and they were told, okay, make a full character. Not that that's really out of the realm to ask people to do.
Yeah,
But that's
even here
a-
it's just the list, really.
Yeah,
okay,
I think
out because these two look like they're on Star Trek together right now.
they, I mean, they really leaned into the fact that they are archetypes, that they're just literally like,
an
you're
archetype.
playing this idea, which if I
Get it?
vaguely
Sure.
remember from the Snatchlerette, the Snatchler, isn't that,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not right.
But they might have given them a little more in that one, but they were still playing like archetypes.
Yes, and the archetype isn't the problem. It's I guess my little ding that I wish production gave them was just a little bit more to work with. Some of the roles also weren't the best. I don't think Miss Fiercealicious did good, but the specific petty bitch, there was not enough time to really establish the petty
pettiness
part.
Yeah, agreed.
That I think that actually that was the kiss of death of like, don't pick that role. Because these queens had very little time to make a mark, which is fine. You know, you only get so much time on screen. You got to make your mark where you can. But if you want a fully developed improv character, you kind of need to give them a little more time.
Yeah, because like to me, if I had sat there and been like, "What's a petty bitch?" where I'm walking in and I don't know any of these people, I probably would have gone for she was on a previous season of The Traitors. And she's back to be petty with the host, the other people, like just like
or like
shit up around.
You're from another reality show, and like the people from your show hate all of these people, so you're gonna dog everything they say. Be petty as responses to everything, like literally the yes and of it. Like pettiness is about taking things in terms of other people a certain way and moving it a certain way.
Yeah, but I think that Fabulicious here does not think that she's actually petty in life, and she is, so she doesn't get it. She doesn't get that the joke is her, as opposed to Cheryl, who gets it so well, so deep.
It was really funny to me they never mentioned the fact that Cheryl specifically is a super fan of Girls Aloud and Cheryl Cole, and that is literally the whole point of her. And I thought it was great. I love that that's the character she got. I just thought it was... if that like conversation never happened, that's surprising to me, and if they didn't show it, that's also surprising to me. My big disappointment here was Eureka. Eureka got the most potential as literally because I'm like immediately that's Deirdre Hall, and like immediately I'm thinking every soap that you can name and make like a funny play on words. Like there's so much you could do with this character, and this is one where you don't actually need any character description. A soap opera star is self-descriptive, and the world is so rich with jokes that
Lisa
like
Rinna
was there. She made no Days of Our Lives jokes. Lisa Rinna immediately made the joke that as soon as
I clocked it at the same speed.
As soon as she showed up as the guest star, I was like, she's going to say, like, Sands through the Hourglass, so are the gays of our lives. And then it happened, and my full circle moment for me. But I thought Eureka should have been in the bottom because, like, if you handicap this challenge for, like, who had it the most difficult and who had it the least difficult, Eureka should have been landing the funniest fucking jokes with zero effort. And instead, she just played the mechanics of, like, what a soap opera actor might say, but with basically no comedy towards the character, just some like general comedic moments.
I would have loved references to things like, well, my twin sister's husband's dog.
Exactly.
This, or season 50, episode 5, where I was in a coma with my
alien baby in my brain.
And like stupid soap names, like give me like As the Hospital Turns, and like make it funny.
Yes, I actually think that I'm always of the opinion when they pull out these lists that production is like, these are the ones we think people will do. That
yes,
is best
100%.
And 100%. I think
100%.
that production would have thought that Eureka and Alexis should have swapped, because Alexis would have brought telenovela, soap star, and Eureka is halfway to being a Karen anyway, so why not?
I would have wanted the Karen role. I mean, like, my kids can't hear you. My kids are outside.
Right, but also like, you don't know what a Karen is, right?
I mean, literally, "Come home, Poppy," like, is such a dramatic, soapy thing to say. Yeah, I really see where you're coming from, where I think that was a lot more in the performance style that we've seen from Alexis Mateo, whereas the Karen, I think, is more what we've seen from Eureka. Literally already this season. I'm not lip syncing tonight because I don't feel like it. That's literally Karen behavior.
Well, now let me ask you about something I'm caring about. I'm caring about how these golden beavers get spent, because at the moment, I'm feeling a little bit like Kennedy Davenport, coolest, smartest queen in the entire universe. Why on earth did you save Fierce Alicious when you should have saved LaPhil?
For me, I actually, the moment that they were like, Kennedy wins, I was like, poor Fierce Alicious, she's about to get milked. And then Kennedy like sat down and she was like, this is not a milk moment. And I was like, isn't it though? I was like, she's been just as awful, but I guess she didn't insult your drag, so she gets to stay? What is this?
Listen, we didn't get one of the most quoted things of all time, fuck my drag, out of Miss Fierce from Kennedy yet, so that one that felt like a production choice where Kennedy was like, that's fine. It's really it feels like a bizarre choice just from her, or maybe they connected in a different way. We don't know. We're not there. All I do know is I was so happy for Kennedy. Kennedy in an improv challenge is a recipe for a good time.
Yep.
She absolutely demolishes them. And part of that, I think one of the judges actually touched on it. Your experience and your way that you know what to do, of just your wealth of experience, collective experience, is pretty fantastic. I will say, I thought this was going to go to Cheryl, but then the runway happened, and I was like, oh
yeah,
Cheryl,
can't go to Cheryl.
Horrible.
no,
Can't go to Cheryl.
Real big bad.
Which is fine.
It's very Cheryl.
It's very Cheryl. I do give Kennedy a lot of credit for, because the thing that Kennedy has always done is her best and be willing to look like a fool, and sometimes it actually really doesn't pay off, and that's great. Like, you shouldn't always, you have to take a risk and you have to try stuff and you have to be willing to do a character and look stupid or try and say a joke, and then it just fails, and then and you learn and you grow. But that is, to me, a more impressive storyline than the person who nails it every time. And for Kennedy, I think she gets to characters like these because she has done this show enough times and tried stuff that, especially like in season 7, she got to try a lot of stuff that didn't work and really grew from that. And she's also one of those queens that applies her talent to everything she does, and sort of understands how her success as a dancer, there are energies and sort of strategies that get applied to other stuff, even if it's not quite her thing. And I just, I think she's so great, and I see her as being a real contender for the crown on this one.
I really hope it's her and Lemon all the way to the end, and it's a dual crown, which Lemon would be thrilled with, but Kennedy would not. I also just want to say, because 4 out of 5 idiots on this panel will understand this reference, Lemon is giving big time, what's the pig guy from the 2nd and 3rd seasons of Hannibal here? This character. Big time.
Nathan Berger, 100%.
Nathan Berger, that's the one.
The second one.
Mm-hmm.
Big time those vibes. I thought that, and this is what I want to say, Lemon deserved to be in the top 3, but not because this was that great, because it was clearly an A+ effort that kind of, for me, landed around a B+. But sometimes you give it to the effort because you're not giving them the win. But like, this encourages Lemon to keep working with these instincts and growing these powers.
I agree with everything except the idea that she should be in the top for it. I just thought this was like totally not great, and in a fine way, in a absolutely, you got to try it and you got to do something. I think if they gave them no more information, which I don't believe they did, but let's assume they did, if you get this character, when you get this character for a reality TV show, the gay guy on a reality TV show is never this kind of gay guy. I would have played this as he's supremely closeted. He keeps just saying, I just want to be normal. And like, don't you get that it's just like, me and my husband are just like you.
Or
and
like
this
super contractor guy who helps all.
The reality TV gay guys are almost always not this,
right?
And on top of that, even when you do, because that's not a rule. Like, you do get guys like this, but they are all literally guys like this. So there's no point in do something entirely different.
which is where I think Kennedy succeeded, because the idea of the know-it-all as a busybody, as opposed to, because when you think know-it-all, you think someone says a fact, be like, actually, that's not true.
Yeah.
But
It could be a know-it-all drag queen, but that's not what she did.
No, she took it as kind of like a busybody, be like, oh no, I know what's going on. I'm nosy. I'm a busybody. And I think that really worked in her favor, as opposed to Lemon, pardon the pun, playing it straight, gay.
Or Fierce Delicious playing it super straight.
Miss Fierce Delicious was not acting. That was that. And my girl Tainomi. This kind of happened last season on Canada 1 with her, where I think she got a little nervous and in her head about the challenge and then didn't know what to do. I will say, they did reference my favorite bad Snatch game of Priyanka. I've only said we just didn't get the oops. This is my favorite improv moment in the entire world.
I also would love to give it up to the queens who can't spell.
Or
Kennedy
don't know
is
each other's
terrible.
names.
They don't know their names.
What do they
Thank you,
call each
Paulette.
other?
Hey, American. No, the older one.
Yeah, no. Excuse me, British with the good teeth. Come here. Like,
Yeah.
what do you call them? Like, it's just shocking to me, because like when I used to be in the classroom, I would have this really great way to be like, hey, my buddy who always gets it right in the third row, and they'd be like, do you know my name? And I'd be like, all right, well, what's my last name? Because I let you call me Nico, but it should be Mr. What? Okay, back away. And like, you can kind of fake it in an authority position, but like, kind of, but like, these
are your
people,
sisters. These are your sisters.
where are you going to go? Who else are you going to talk to? Anyway, I didn't love the lip sync. Didn't do it for me. Didn't love that LaPhil went home. But I really love that this is a catty, bitchy, scratchy season. I'm here for it. Only 6, kind of a bummer, but let me just say that is literally my favorite Brooklyn Heights look in Brooklyn Heights Drag Race television history, all seasons combined. And that's my big take this week. I would love to get everybody else's final thoughts and get ready to transition on into our next pop.
Here's what I'm gonna.
No, go ahead.
Here's what I'm gonna say. Producers, people who write challenges, you're gonna make a pun on a name. Do the actual parody. None of this two for one BS. No. I'm not about that. You guys fail. Very happy and proud of Kennedy. Because this season is only 6 episodes, it does feel like wins are a lot more valuable than in a standard 10 to whatever season, for whether it's All Stars versus whatever. Sad to see LaPhil go, but I don't know if they might have just had I think Brad put it best. If you're doing something in comedy and it's not working, you have to move on. You can't really cycle too much. You can't get stuck on one thing, because then it does become a little one note. Proud of him. Happy, and I'm really excited that they got to showcase just a little bit more. But
Tori, hit us.
Agreed. I was really impressed with a lot of people in this one. As someone who hates competition reality series for all of the infighting, this is the most interested I've been in the infighting in a very long time. I find it fascinating. This Fierce Delicious is ridiculous to me. I love that Tainomi came for her. I got a feeling Kennedy's coming next for some reason. I think that there's going to be more fights. I'm very excited. And I'm worried about Tainomi, and I'm worried about, honestly, Cheryl. Girl,
That's a good
You're
instinct.
doing well, but I could see you having a midweek, and then they just bye-bye.
Well-
Listen, Cheryl won a challenge, the first challenge, and she stayed this long. This has been a
She didn't
win
win.
for her.
She didn't
Well,
Lemon
sorry,
won
she was
last
in the top. She was in the top for a challenge.
it was the same top 3 as last week, and
Yeah.
then the opposite team was all on the bottom.
And I was even just talking about last week. she's already improved her standing. I love her so much. She's one of my absolute favorites. I do not see her for the end of this show. So for me, it's all just icing on the cake that she is here for as long as she will be.
Kevo, I would love to know what your final thoughts are on this double dose of superstars, because it's all stars, man.
I think Jonah's point about it only being 6 episodes also has me a little bit worried about this season feeling just sort of like it is sandwiched in between All Stars 9 and Global All Stars, which is something that the world has been waiting for so long. And so I don't know. I keep forgetting how short the roster on this season is as well to match the episode count. I keep thinking it's more girls, and it's not. But I am certainly enjoying this season. It's not that it feels like filler. I just worry that it will be, not forgotten, but like overlooked, overseen, because it's between 2 such significant titles.
Juggalossises.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, until we come back. Yeah. Oh, like Shannel. Until we come back to Juggalos a little bit more, we're going to talk some SDCC stuff. We've got our comic stuff on Wednesdays. We'll be back to talk more of this next weekend. Plus, another set of amazing broadcasts coming your way. So keep an eye on X's for Show and X's for Podcast on all your social media. But until then, please like, comment, and subscribe on those. Tori, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on the socials at SM Tori. That's Tori with an I.
Hey, Jojo, where can everybody find your face?
You can find me on the socials at Peak Jonah. That's Peak.
Hey, Kevo.
You can find me over on the socials at Kevo Really. That's KEVOREALLY. Teak, what about you?
You can find me at TK Elemental Nico.
That's NICOACTION. And if you want to check out the music, that's NICOACTIONMUSIC. And while we're at it, 3 things you guys can do for us. Like we said, like, comment, and subscribe. But 3 things we need you guys to do for yourselves. Number 1, stay safe. It's a spooky, crazy world out there. Number 2, please be brave. It is hard to be yourself, but you do it so good. And number 3, evolve daily. Who you were yesterday, we love them. Who you are today, amazing. But who you are tomorrow, that's the dream. And we can't wait to see you then. So until then, stay safe. We'll check you.
Bye. Bye-bye.